Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring in our top right-hand side Dooml, our blue Terran. I like to pretend that the L is really an exclamation point and that he is in fact Doom. And Hordeon is in our bottom left-hand side. He is our red Zerg. Both players are in Masters. We are on Daybreak. This is a great map. It's a great matchup. Zerg versus Terran. A lot of exciting things going on here. You know what's not really exciting is the opening seconds whenever no one decides to throw down a proxy barracks. No one decides to throw down a proxy spawning pool, but you have to be vigilant for that because the second I decide to times 8 it, someone's going to move out and throw down a dark shrine somewhere else, and I did that purposely just so we don't have to worry about Protoss being here. But we can see that the first supply depot is getting thrown up by Dooml just on the top side of his natural expansion, just at the top of that ramp to work on that wall off. Hordeon not electing for any early gas, not electing for any early spawning pool. The map of this size is very difficult to pull off a rush, even if you want to, especially because it's so easy to wall off right here for Dooml. And those Zerglings would have a hell of a time trying to burst down that front door. It looks like it's going to be a 15 something coming out of Hordeon, probably a 15 pool, maybe a 15 hatch, depending on how defensive or aggressive Hordeon wants to play this. No gas from Dooml, actually no barracks at all, which is really, really weird, especially now that he's just electing for constant SCVs. That's okay, so it's going to be a command center first build coming out of Dooml. There's really no excuse to have floating that much money if you're in Masters League, and it looks like a drone is going to be moving out to throw down the hatchery, and we don't see a scouting drone coming out of Hordeon, so he too is going to be playing very economically speaking. Going with that hatch first build. Command center still not being constructed, but he's almost got enough money moving out with that SCV. He's probably going to be throwing it up on the high ground because he doesn't even have the barracks yet. There goes the command center. Just to complete that wall off, we're going to have another supply depot on the bottom side, but the Overlord is almost there from Hordeon. It's going to be poking up, I guess, going down into the natural to see if there is an early command center, and then barring that, swing left and then actually scout it out. Spawning pool being thrown down by Hordeon. Still no gas out of him just yet, so he's going to be macroing hard. He's going to be getting quite a lot of harvesters in a very short amount of time. Nice saturation on that natural, but how is he going to react to this command center build? Because that's weird coming out of a Terran first, command center first. It's not really in vogue right now. It's not unheard of. It's definitely something you've got to be familiar with. But the correct dealing with is either a Baneling bust coming out of Hordeon, and we don't see double gas just yet. I mean, he's scouted it. He knows what's going on. He's got quite a lot of money floating, and I think that tells you exactly what's going on. He hasn't elected to throw down that hatchery just yet because he's waiting for that spawning pool to pop. He's going to get double queens up first, and then probably going to tank a little bit more money so he can throw down a third. But that's totally the pathway that Hordeon's going to be taking on this one. And it's appropriate. It's totally normal. The Hordeon's build consisted of going hatch first because he wanted an economic edge. Well, Dooml kind of negated that economic edge by going command center first, and so what does Hordeon do? Well, he goes for another economic edge. He throws down another hatchery, and I think it might be this guy. It might be one of these guys. We'll know in a couple of seconds. He needs a little bit more money, but regardless, we know exactly what's going to be thrown up there. No attachment on those barracks just yet, but he's got double refineries going to town and all that gas, so we're probably going to be seeing something in a relatively short amount of time. Double gas, there goes the factory. I'm expecting this is going to be some sort of bio mech build with plenty of Widow Mines thrown into the mix because that's incredibly powerful right now. Regardless, we'll see something involving a factory. It's way too early to tell, even with the double gas. You know it's going to be a tech building of some sort, but whoop-de-doo, that doesn't really tell you anything at all. The third has been taken by Hordeon. It's going to be working on that saturation, 27 over 23, but 0 for the gas income at all. Hasn't even started on that speed yet. There goes the 2 extractors. Absolutely fantastic timing on that one. And the queen production is in full swing. We see another 2 queens coming out, which is going to be very handy because that factory probably going to be using this reactor coming out of the barracks to double produce Hellbats, Hellions, probably. There goes the switch up, and 2 barracks being built just to the left of that, so it looks like it's going to be a bit more of a bio build, which is cool because we have that double gas. We're going to have plenty of medevacs to support heavily drop, and Daybreak really doesn't favor the drop play too much, not over much. The 4th and the natural, or the 4th and the main are very, very close by air. You kind of come into the main and hope you can stutter step around to here, load up again, and then drop down in the natural, but that's really your only major avenue for a major hit on the economy. The 3rd is tucked away in its own little hole, own little world, and yeah, you can come by the north side, but what does that accomplish? It doesn't really accomplish anything that can't be gained by coming along the ground. Because of that, mech is very, very powerful in this matchup. you only have one or two pathways to defend. You can position your siege tanks just here to defend both pathways into both bases. And because of that, I kind of like mech more than anything else in this matchup. Suicide Overlord coming in from Hordeon, seeing pretty much everything he needs to see. The single starport is going to be switching at the factory to take advantage of the reactor. Two more reactors being thrown up on the barracks, and we see the stem has already been started on the Tech Lab, producing a Marauder as well as two Vikings. Okay, yeah, so only one medevac now, canceling that other one. Okay, two medevacs. Very, very neat. Dooml, baby, you know, it's a keyboard. You hit the wrong button sometimes on the keyboard. Who cares? Who cares? I like the idea of getting a Viking out, though, kind of punish the hubris of these overlords, which are kind of aggressively positioned, including this one, which is absolutely fantastic positioning here. This is totally the pathway that the medevac would take into the main. Speaking of expansions, we've got a little bit of a push here from the Hellions, but with only 3 drones harvesting from this third, the Spine Crawler is going to be able to rebuff those Hellions, no problem at all. One of them taking very major structural damage on that one Hellion, but still, Dooml is got to be happy where he is. He came in, saw that the saturation at that natural is really paltry. There's not a lot to be said about the economy right now for this third, 52 over 40, so Hordeon definitely has a leg up on both mineral and gas income, especially if you consider that Dooml is just on 2 bases. He's going to be blowing through those minerals in a relatively short amount of time. Just on 3 gases right now tells me that he's going to be doing with something that he's got right now. He's probably waiting for another round of medevacs before he pushes out. He's also probably waiting for that +1. Stim will be finishing very soon, but he probably wants to get that combat shields out there too, so that his Marines can be maximally effective. A little bit of a Zergling run by is going to be cut down by a Widow Mine. Did it do any splash damage? Oh, it did. Look at all that splash damage. Oh my goodness. But it didn't take out a single one of those SCVs. I wonder if that would count as a kill for Hordeon or a kill for Dooml if he killed his own SCVs. These are the questions, my gentlemen. These are the questions. +1 armor as well as +1 range already being started for Dooml. +1/+1 for the ground has been underway for Hordeon for a little bit of time now. He's also getting that infestor pit up. However, I feel strongly that that infestor pit is not for infestors or for the what are the other ones? The colonies, the swarm hosts. Yeah, I don't feel it's for that. I think it's for hive tech. I think the +1 ground tells you everything you need to know. Ultralisks are incredibly powerful, and they will chew through plenty of Marines. And I think that that's what we can expect as a build from Hordeon. I think that's the pathway that he's deciding to transverse right now. And the fungal growths from the infestors will be incredibly powerful if he manages to grab one down on these medevacs to kind of cut down on their ability to harass. But I think it's just a stopgap. I think it's his pathway on to higher and higher tech, but that makes Hordeon a little bit more exposed right now. He does have a Baneling nest being built, and I think those Banelings will be very powerful against this drop, which consists pretty much exclusively of Marines that are unupgraded. They have Stim. +1's going to be finishing in just a couple of seconds. However, oh, not in time for... Oh, there goes the Stim! What a clutch timing for the Stim. The Hellion's perfectly positioned to cut to pieces all those Zerglings. They melt almost instantly. +1 also finishing, +1 armor finishing, +1 for melee weapons as well. Hordeon has 28 Zerglings on the way. Half of the force has been cut down from Dooml, but they're being supported by 4 pristine medevacs. I say pristine as one dies from the Spore Crawler. The other Spore Crawler goes down, but check this out. Workers killed. 0 economic damage has been done. 2 queens have gone down, a 3rd one and a 4th one coming in from the north and south side. Another queen. Oh man, 28 of the Zerglings going to their death, but that's okay because all the damage is being dealt by the queens, which are far, far, far more important. And even more important is the fact that 0 economic damage was done. Every single one of the medevacs has gone down with the exception of this guy. Oh my goodness, he does. There goes the medevac. Absolutely fantastic. Did he cancel the infestor pit? No, he did not. Hordeon decided to get 2 infestor pits because that makes your infestors twice as good. I don't know if you guys know that. It was the most recent patch. You get 2 infestor pits and the infestors are twice as good. Does he have... He does not have pathogen glands just yet. Counter-strike here from those Zerglings, forcing the cancel on the command center. He knows that the 3rd hasn't been taken because of the nice positioning of his own scouting Zergling, but he's going to have to retreat from this mass of battle Hellions as well as Marines stemming down, not really supported by any of the medevacs. 2 of medevacs coming in from the north side. However, with the sheer number of Marines, they're not going to have any problem with this number of Zerglings. However, if all of them turn into Banelings, that could be a significant problem because, once again, combat shields not done yet. He's got +2 on the way, but he doesn't have combat shields, and that is so important. Oh my goodness, where is the combat shields? You have to assume it's a misclick because he's got the money, he's got the infrastructure back at home, he's got, yeah, he still has a tech lab on one of the one of the barracks. I do not understand why he doesn't have combat shields. It's super important, especially because pathogen glands are being added on. We're going to be seeing some infestors just to deal with this massive ball. But once again, where is the hive tech? Do we have it yet? He's still on lair, right? Yeah, he's still on lair. Here comes the push. Oh no, no control at all from Dooml, allowing all the banelings just to crush into that massive Marines. And speaking of banelings, oh no, there's nowhere for you to run. Oh my goodness. So many SCVs, 25 SCVs. They were so young. They were so young. Oh my goodness. Dooml, his economy is just in tatters now. 31 over 75. Hordeon's got to be just clapping. You just do the slow clap right now. Yeah, there's a counter aggression. A little bit of a drop going on back at home. He's going to get 1 or 2 drone kills. But even with this counter strike of all these Zerglings and the main aggression being cleaned up in Dooml's main base, he has got to be hurting for certain. The 4th has been taken. And what is he going to be doing with all this extra income? There goes the combat shields. $1 late. $1 short. I don't even know that saying, but the hive tech has already been started. We're going to be seeing Ultralords in just a couple of seconds, and this is really brutal for Dooml. But he still has his economy. I mean, he still has his infrastructure back at home. He can constantly produce guys. 10 infestors on the production tab right now. 34 Zerglings. Combat shield is going to be done in just a couple of seconds, but Dooml is incredibly cramped right now. He really can't afford to push out and take another expansion. That siege tank up on the high ground doing massive, massive damage, shelling down damage, but the saturation back up in the main, this is going to start to get mined out in just a couple of minutes, and it's about the same time that Ultralisks are going to be out on the field. And so Dooml really, really needs to secure a 3rd, or he needs to do some economic damage of his own. He's trying to do that with so many drops, but with 4 queens shelling down so many of those medevacs, there's really not a lot he can do. Oh, clutch fungal growth going up, and just he's got to be thankful that his Marines did indeed have the combat shields, because all of those would have been dead without it. Another beautiful fungal growth. Hordeon really showing you that even though those fungal growths are very slow and methodical because of their speed, you can still land those clutch fungal growths whenever someone like Dooml is trying to do this multi-prong harassment. Your attention can only be in one area at one time. Speaking of attention, look at this production tab. You got adrenal glands, you got the Ultralisk Cavern, you got +3/+3 on the way. Hordeon is just in a commanding lead. Dooml he needs to have taken a 3rd and then hold on to it, but he's just now positioning this orbital command down into the 3rd location. At the same time, he's going to be pushing forward with an impressive swell of Marines. However, here comes the fungal growth. The volleyballs go down. Beautiful landing in the center of that cluster. So many of them are going to be dying. Ultralisk Cavern still a couple of seconds away. I think Dooml's attack is hitting at the right amount of time, but Hordeon just did so much damage early on that there's really not a lot he can do. This attack is going to be completely rebuffed. Bad game. It was a fantastic game. I disagree entirely, Dooml. It was very, very well done. Both players had a great play. I think Dooml had a very good idea. I think he was using that mobility to his advantage. Popping in here, just doing a little bit of striking, but he didn't do any economic damage on any of his drops, with the exception of that last one. I think he took off like 2 drones or 3 drones. Okay, whoop-de-doo. But he did take out a lot of Zerglings in those and forced Hordeon to kind of stunt himself. But on the back of that, he needed to secure his own expansion. He needed to get that 3rd and hold it. And Hordeon just came in with this massive swell of Zerglings and just crushed them. I think he could have been more successful if, instead of getting so many Hellions out of those 4 Hellions, either using them more aggressively or supplanting them instead of Widow Mines. Getting some Widow Mines out, positioning those rather aggressively over here by the choke, maybe down here by the 3rd, making it so that that huge swell of banelings had to run through a Widow minefield, and instead of scoring those massive strikes on the Marine ball, he could have kept that whole thing alive if the Widow mines had managed to get their splash damage down on those banelings. That was obviously the pinnacle part of this replay, the huge swinging thing. Yeah, he scored a massive hit on those SCVs, but the only reason he was able to do that was because he crushed the entire force from Dooml, and that was because his attention was elsewhere. I don't know if he had a drop going on at the same time. I think he might have. Regardless, it just didn't do the amount of damage necessary to justify a loss of 25 SCVs. Hordeon just showing you that even without the Ultralisks, the ground composition of Zerglings with those infestors in tow is still very, very powerful. I feel strongly that the infestors need a little bit of a buff on the fungal growth. I feel like it needs to be a little bit easier to land those. But that's just me because I'm terrible. Obviously, Hordeon does not have a problem with landing those fungal growths. I do not have a problem with you guys watching my replays. If you have a replay you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary.